All right, guys, thanks for listening to the podcast sponsored by Sky Video and Talent Corp. If you want professional actors or Australia's best leading talent, please reach out to Sky Video or Talent Corp. And thanks for sponsoring this podcast.
Why was it so hard to clap?
So, I know, right? It can be it's like, what happened? It didn't work. Oh my God, Jennah, wow.
Wow.
What a fucking privilege to have you in here.
Oh, stop it. Don't stop it.
Serious. So today's podcast is brought to us by Sky Video and Talent Corp. If you want to have amazing Australian celebrities and presenters promoting your business, reach out to Sky Video. How professional, hey?
Oh, I love this.
I'm doing big boy things.
Love it. Adulting.
We're so lucky. We made some new friends in Sydney. They're called Talent Corp. And we've shot a few things for them, and they were just like, oh my God, you guys are so great to work with. We want to do more. And we've kind of gone into partnership together.
Oh, fantastic.
And like they've got some of the most amazing celebs in Australia. Matt Moran, the chef. Merv Hughes, the old cricket player.
Yeah, right.
Whole bunch of others.
Wow.
So cool.
This is big.
It's big. Yeah. It's really big for us being the new kids on the block.
Yeah.
It's huge. And to like build a collab in Sydney like that, we're so grateful. And you know the biggest thing, Chippy, is that, can I call you Chippy?
Well, you do. So
Jennah.
It'd be weird if you used Jennah. When was the last time you said Jennah when we first met? I think it was when we first met.
When we first met, yeah.
Once.
I think like one of the coolest things about it though is just they're so fucking nice to work with.
Yeah.
And I put that over any dollar value whatsoever.
You have to.
Yeah.
You have to.
In our game, you have to. You spend too much time with people.
Yeah, exactly. Exactly. And you
put
can tell
so
the different
much
people
energy and so much time.
Yeah, it's your heart and soul.
Yeah. So I'm going to attempt at introducing you to our audience. But I'd really love for you to, take over and correct my things I've missed and whatnot. But you and I have been friends for over 10 years. We used to work together.
Yeah.
You have studied at WAPA, the West Australian Academy of Performing Arts, and you've graduated from there, and you've gone on to pursue your dream of becoming an actress in Australia. I would love to hear all about it. And thank you so much for coming on the show. It's an absolute pleasure to have you.
Thanks for having me.
Yeah, welcome. So tell us about what the fuck you've been up to since you before went to WAPA and then on the other side of WAPA and all these amazing projects you're doing.
Okay. Well, it all started, Graham Bannear had sex with Clarice Ravat. Well, actually, she was Bannear at the time.
Okay.
They were married.
Yes.
No, I won't go that far back.
Mummy and Daddy.
Mummy and Daddy.
There was a big bang. There was a birthday.
There was the big bang. Yeah. No, I think from a very young age, it was just something that was really deep seated within me. Like, you know how some kids, you look at them and you go, oh yeah, they're going to do something in science or they're going to do something in the arts. Yeah, I was one of those.
They're going to be a criminal.
Yeah, you know.
They're going to do naughty things.
I know the ones. Anyway, it started really young. My mum was always putting me into shows or competitions. It started out with singing. So I was really comfortable performing, and it started to create a space in my life where it was healing, it was growth, it was all that sort of stuff. I came over here from a stint in New Zealand. We lived there for 10 years. I did the plays at school and all that stuff, the high school musicals, all that jazz.
North Island or South?
South, Christchurch.
Kia ora.
I went to Villa Maria Girls College.
Kia ora whānau.
Kia ora. I can't pretend that I have a really great accent. But yeah, so it started there. I came to Australia. I was looking up some acting classes. I ended up in some real rubbish ones. You can just sort of tell that they just want your money.
Okay, we're going to get into that.
Yeah. So anyway, it was good to be exposed to, but I caught on to that pretty quick that it weren't really of any substance. I was in a short film, and in the background, I was a background actor, and I just went, oh my God, I need to do this for the rest of my life, even if I'm paying to do it. I don't even care. I later got told never tell anyone you'll pay to do something. Just say you have a fee and that's what it is, and know your worth. So I was in that film and I just went, I need to do this forever. I started doing some independent films, and then I decided I need to ramp things up. I'm going to go and try it for WAPA. I missed a step. I tried out when I was 17 and I cried because I didn't prepare well enough and I buckled under pressure hard.
Okay.
Yeah, and so I went back again at 27. That's after I left the place
Well,
where we
so
worked.
10 years.
Yeah, I waited. They said, go get some life experience, girl.
Okay.
And I went and got maybe too much. But when I came back, it was the right time. It was just the right time for it to happen. I studied performance making, so we learned how to build a show from start to finish. So the genesis of the idea, devising the physical performance, it's basically to create a piece of theatre and be able to market it, be able to direct it, produce it, all of those things.
Fantastic.
To wear all those hats. And I thought that'd be a really nice thing to take into my acting, because what better thing to take with you than to understand the importance of everybody's role in the game, and also not have to rely on other people to make the work for me.
Nice.
If there's a drought, I can just jump on the laptop or on the notebook and start writing. I have the confidence to do that from that course. Anyway, graduated, jumped into a job teaching kids acting, and the people who run that studio were like, do you have representation? And I said, oh, no, I'm freelance. And they represented me, started getting me some work, and yeah, here we are today.
Amazing.
Yeah, I feel like
so
I talked
cool.
about myself for so long then.
No, that's great. And that's what we want. That's what you're here for, because your story is going to inspire so many people. I can already tell. And even if it inspires one person, then we've done our job today.
Yeah.
And I think I'm going to be as bold to assume that you and I are both sitting here because we've been inspired by other people in our industry.
Oh, yeah.
That have gone and done the thing. I know the people that have inspired me, some of the most are the ones that have come from being like a dishwasher and, you know, not having any business being in this industry whatsoever and have gone on to build astonishing careers for themselves. Who's your biggest influence or inspiration, or top 2 or 3?
Oh, wow. Look, I'm going to say this sounds really corny, but my first inspiration was my mother.
Nice.
She
Beautiful.
still is. I grew up watching her perform in bands and singing, and so she showed me really it was possible to have a career doing something that lights you up and brings you joy, because when you do that, it brings other people joy. And so I had an example right in front of me of what was not only okay, but celebrated and possible, and you know, making money doing something you love. Isn't that crazy?
It's so good.
But
it's literally like the most ultimate freedom of human existence, I feel.
Yeah. I mean, so it doesn't really go beyond that so much. I watch everybody and then I go, yeah, these are just a whole bunch of people doing what they love and doing it so much that they're celebrated for it on a global scale. I'm inspired by everybody that I meet, because everybody's just doing their best to get by and maybe do it with a little bit of, I don't know, satisfaction at the end as well.
Yeah, absolutely.
I don't know. I don't really have any grand scale inspirations like that.
Okay.
Just the small little things that are close to me.
Yep.
Yeah.
Anyone's body of work that you try and emulate or replicate or take inspiration from and apply to your methodology?
Oh, wow.
We're asking the big questions here.
Yeah, and these are the ones that make me panic. Like my heart's a flutter. I'm glad I didn't just have a coffee. Because I don't want to miss it. I don't want to misrepresent where I'm coming from by saying the wrong answer under pressure. But
we'll take your time and we can go deep on it too. We can unpack it, you know?
Yeah. I love when you hear stories about, let's just start with Australians. To be honest, like we are not necessarily as, I don't know if this is the right word, resourced as places like America with the, you know, their film and theatre industry over there. Like they really have a well-oiled machine, and we're kind of catching up. So when I see Australians that really just are trailblazers and doing wonderful things, those are the people that I watch closely. Like I love Rose Byrne. She's a sweetheart.
Nice.
She's from Australia.
Yeah.
She can do drama, she can do comedy, and she just stays so genuine and lovely. You hear interviews with her and you go, oh, I feel like I could just, I don't know, have a hot chocolate with that chick and chat about life and like we knew each other. But she comes across that way. And so I guess I want to make sure that whatever becomes of me in this industry, I kind of hang on to my roots and myself and where I've come from, but also be able to let that go as well. If you know what I mean.
That's the paradox.
Not cling too tightly to what I know, but use that to guide me and propel me forward.
Right.
So yeah, I think those people.
Why?
Why what?
Why? Why are they conflicting? Why do those two things conflict? Why, by holding on to yourself, does it not necessarily allow you to propel yourself to where you want to go?
Well, I think that as adults, it's all about being able to balance two different and conflicting ideas in our brains at once, because that is life. There's always going to be without one thing, the other can't exist. Without night, what is day?
Universal law, yin and yang.
Exactly, yeah. So I guess I don't really know how to answer that question, mainly because I forgot it because I rambled for so long. Can you just ask me again?
Holding on to yourself, letting go of yourself, and then like the paradox that is.
Yeah, okay. So staying true to who you are on a spiritual level, on a fundamental level, what your moral compass and your ethics, those are the things I want to cling to.
Nice.
Because they got me here in one piece.
Okay.
And I think that, I truly value my strengths. I don't toot my own horn per se, but I think that I'm a strong, independent young human that knows where I've come from and where I'm going. So I like that. I want to hang on to that part. But I don't want to cling to outdated beliefs about who I can be moving forward. So we might have an idea of who we are, right? And we're chasing that. And then we have a whole bunch of experiences which change us, but then we're still hanging on to this idea of what we thought we were going to be. And that can be what limits us, right?
Right.
So I think the evolution is important. We need to remember that. Well, I need to remember, this is not on anyone else, but I always want to remember that I can be anything and that can change.
Yep.
Like at the drop of a hat.
Nice. Powerful. Very powerful. So let's add some context around who you are in a work capacity. Let's come forward briefly. You've just worked in a really big film. Can you speak to that, who your co-stars were, what the film's called, when's it's coming out? It's wrapped now, hasn't it?
Yeah, so it was a series. Actually, sorry, I didn't mean to correct you.
No, not at all. Series, sorry.
But it was filmed, so partly.
Yeah.
The 12, season 2. That was probably my biggest job to date. And so much gratitude for the people who helped open those doors for me. It is also about
Do you want to shout any of them out at all?
Yeah, my agent Hallie, firstly for putting me forward and believing I was ready to be at that level. The casting director.
Guys, this is a big fucking project. This is cool.
Yeah, it's pretty.
It's amazing.
I have to sort of sit back and smile every now and then because I'm like, oh wow, yeah, I did that.
You're fucking doing it.
It's
You're
great.
doing it. You've done it. You've done the thing.
Yeah, it's done. It's now like what next? But also it doesn't matter if there's nothing next. Like I got to do something I dreamed about doing. But so Kirsty McGregor from McGregor Casting, she gave me a shot. She believed in me as well to put me forward. And then obviously just the entire production team on the show. And there's way too many people to name, but just give it a Google and you'll see them all. But working alongside people like Frances O'Connor and Sam Neill for my first job. Like, what the hell? When does that happen? When does that happen?
Amazing.
And it's been a long time coming.
Yeah.
When I first met you when we worked together, like I was just hustling, grinding away, doing little background stuff.
Yep.
And it's really interesting because on the set of that show, one of the guys, Michael, who was coordinating the extras, he spent so many years coordinating me.
Yeah, okay.
As an extra in different projects, films along. I've done some feature film stuff, but in the background.
Yeah. Is he assistant director then, like second AD or first AD or something?
So in this one, what was his role here? He's, as I've moved through the ranks, so is he.
Yep.
So he definitely wasn't doing extras. I think he might have I don't want to say it and
That's okay.
be wrong.
We won't hold you to it. Maybe it was like best boy in the beginning or something, or PA production assistant.
Yeah,
or something.
now he's just he's doing big things now. So I'm equally as excited for him as I am for myself.
Awesome.
Yeah,
Amazing.
yeah.
And so what's it like working with Sam? Like,
oh wow, he's just he's a dream. Like he just watching someone like him work was the best lesson that anyone could ever get. He has this economy of words where he just says what he needs to, and that's it.
okay, that's interesting.
You know, in general chit chat, you know, he keeps it simple, and I want to do that. I'm somebody who just waffles on, and then I leave, and I go, shoot, I should have left 3 sentences ago.
Okay.
You know, but he doesn't have that issue. But you know, he also has learned that over time, obviously.
One of my favorite filmmakers is a YouTuber, very inspirational fellow for me, Casey Neistat. He once said, we have a duty to articulate what we want to say in as fewer words as possible.
Yes.
Especially when you're content creating or in a movie or creating movie or dialogue.
Mm-hmm.
And so that stuck with me. I heard him say that like maybe 7 or 8 years ago.
Yeah.
And that really was one of the big things that stuck with me. I'm like, okay, when I speak, I need to get my point out as quick as possible and move on, because otherwise you're just robbing your audience of time.
That's true. And also, you know your material well when you can discuss it concisely and simply.
Yeah. Yeah.
But
So that was one takeaway. What else?
Just, you know, the Perth community industry is just so beautiful and supportive and collaborative. It really is like just going to play every day.
Yeah.
And it's just such a nice, rich environment where everybody's happy doing what they're doing. And you go home and you have done this really long day and you feel so charged and like full.
What's the series about?
It's a legal drama / thriller. I can't leak what it is actually, the story, because it hasn't been released yet. And I might have some legal.
Sure. No, we don't want that.
But yeah, it's a legal drama, and they have had season 1 out, so that actually won 3 Logies. So that's even
where can you watch it? What is it streaming on? I haven't seen it. I'm going to watch it, but I haven't seen it.
I wonder if the first season was on
is it
Stan or Binge. Stan or Binge. Yeah.
Stan or Binge. Yeah.
Yeah. This next one's coming
12,
up.
Right?
The 12. Yeah.
The 12.
Yeah. The next one's coming out on Binge and Foxtel.
Okay.
So that's hopefully in a couple of months we'll see something. And
And your other co-star?
Frances O'Connor.
Yes.
She was probably one of the most supportive and encouraging people I've ever worked with.
Nice.
She helped me to feel comfortable asking for what I need in terms of, you know, going for another take and being unapologetic about the work. I was suffering from some mad imposter syndrome in the first block of filming, and I happened to be in a hair appointment because they trim your hair and then they touch it up for continuity and things like that. So we happened to have hair appointments at the same time.
Okay.
And
is that in the trailer?
No, in the studio.
In the studio,
they have a proper hair.
What studio were you filming? Was it over in Melbourne or something, or what?
It's here in WA in Perth.
What studio?
ABC.
Okay, ABC studio.
Soundstage there.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah.
Cool. Nice place.
And then out in the country as well.
Yeah. Then you're on location, weren't you?
Yeah.
Okay.
Beautiful spot. Anyway, we were side by side in the chairs, and she was asking me about me, and so holding space for me made me feel like I could.
That's so nice.
Operate alongside her, you know, almost at her level.
As an equal.
As an equal, yeah, not at her level of experience, obviously.
Understood. As a human being, though.
Yeah, she made me feel like I deserve to be there.
She's been in so many films.
Is that what you're Googling now? Yeah.
She's been in Emily. She's been in Bedazzled. She's been in The Hunter. She's been in...
Emily, she wrote and directed.
No way.
That's amazing. Watch it. It's insane.
Conjuring 2, Kiss or Kill. There's one with Cillian Murphy popping up here as well. We just talked about him with our other guest. The Wind That Shakes the Barley. Nice. And Spielberg. She had something to do with Spielberg as well.
She's incredible.
How beautiful. How amazing.
Actually, you know what? Can we zoom back to that question where you asked me whose body of work inspires me?
Yes.
Her.
No way.
I can't even believe I didn't even think of that until...
It's all right.
Isn't that great how conversation works?
You're settling in.
Yeah, I'm relaxed.
Settling and you're relaxing now. It's 19-minute mark. This is where people start to chill.
Is it?
Between 7 and 20 minutes, people start to relax. The first 5 minutes, people are like stiff boards, and then they start to chill and realize that, the camera's not going to bite you or...
Yeah. Well, I should be used to the camera. It's the hearing my own voice thing.
Is that what's throwing you?
Well, yeah. And the fact that it's recorded, because you should hear the shit that comes out of my face sometimes.
Like, I don't want that recorded.
I just want to take it back.
And I don't edit these podcasts at all either.
Oh, really?
They
So if there's a fluff, it stays.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Okay.
Unless it's a big fluff, then we might. But
yeah,
we want to keep it authentic.
Yeah, like if I divulged information I shouldn't for legal purposes,
you
you'd
then
have to
would
snip.
scrub that for sure.
Yeah.
Yes, absolutely.
Yeah. That's what you tell me.
Put it out there. Dark leaks, WikiLeaks, and I have Universal Studios and Warner Brothers coming after me. Don't do that. Like, I'm a keeper of secrets now, Chippy.
Yeah. Right.
Mm-hmm.
Well, let's now we're talking about you. Keeper of secrets.
Yeah, well, I want to go back to you, but I've like yourself and a few other people I've met along life's journey are starting to do some really big things in film. One of my best friends is in the new Mad Max film coming out.
Amazing. Which
premieres in May. It's coming up, and then off to the Cannes Film Festival he is, and I might maybe go with him to document that event for him. But I've got quite a few friends now that have like done some shit, and it's all starting to come out. But I'm the keeper of secrets. I'm sitting on all these secrets now, and it's like, wow, this is how it works.
Big responsibility.
Yep.
Yeah.
I can't go to a party now, the dinner party, and be like, so guys, this has been my day.
Yeah.
Like, I literally was with a friend over the weekend, and she was like, so what have you got coming on with this? What do you got? And I literally couldn't talk about stuff, and I'm like, no, I'm not being cagey here. I'm not being weird. Like, and I just deflected, but not a bullshit deflect, but just like a slight deflection where
polite deflection.
Polite deflection. But honestly, like, to go into some of the stuff I'm doing now, I can't for some of it. And then other elements of it is just like so complex.
Yeah.
It's not an easy story anymore. It's like, well, this is happening. And then people are just like, okay, well, unless you're in the industry, then you'll align pretty quick with it. But for a lot of people out of the industry now, it gets quite hard to actually share with what we're doing.
Yeah, right. But that must be so lovely though as well to be around that kind of momentum.
It is, definitely. I feel absolutely blessed. It's what I wanted.
Yeah.
But I think, like you said before, there's the polarity where it's like, be careful what you wish for.
Yeah, that is just such a true and reoccurring theme.
Mm-hmm. Like doing this podcast, I've been asked for like 4 or 5 years now about doing a podcast. And I don't know if you remember, but when I started my video career, one of the things I did for a while was I was doing like these terrible weekly vlogs and daily vlogs and just little videos filming myself.
They were not terrible.
They were terrible, but thank you.
They were reflective of where you were at the time
100%,
and in your journey.
Sucked.
And they were not terrible.
I sucked.
They just weren't in line with what you're doing now. They're different.
Yeah, and I just didn't have the skills, right? I didn't have the skills, but that's how I developed my skills.
Building them.
Was by doing them. Exactly. And I forever loved that. But then there was a big period of a bunch of things happening in my life, and some of them like quite serious things with adult repercussions and legalities. And I'm like, man, I can't go on a podcast now and talk about this while I've got these like things going on in the background that, would open myself up to a lot of criticism from people that don't know me.
Yeah.
And I wasn't ready to put that out there yet. So, and I'm still not with some of that stuff, but I think more to the point, it's like, when the time is right, you kind of jump on things, you can talk about things, and you learn in this business that you've got to sit on a lot of information before it will start to come out, and it's like a delayed gratification.
Yeah, it totally is.
Right? And it's even like the money side of it as well. Like my friends waited 2.5 years to get paid.
Yeah.
And people
But I bet that payday was worth it.
It's still coming, and people assume that, because you're doing this kind of work, they just instantly go, oh, you must be killing it. You're like, in the film industry and it's all big bucks and all that. But the story that so many of us go through, unless we're Nepo kids and are born into this shit, then
which I wasn't.
Yeah, right. Exactly. Amen. Me too. And for the rest of us, it's a fucking struggle, man.
Yeah.
And I'm not looking for the violin here. It's a struggle I chose.
Yes.
But like, it's fucking hard to get going. And then you don't even know if it's going to happen. You just hope that it happens.
But somewhere
Well, you touched on that before.
Yeah.
You said there was like an innate feeling inside you that, you were like, I have to do this. And I had the exact same thing.
Yeah.
It took me till I was about 30 to have the courage to actually acknowledge it properly.
Yeah.
I started to get like slaps across the face from a higher entity in my 20s about it.
Yeah.
Mid 20s and then late 20s. It wasn't until I was like 30 before I had the courage to actually like look into it further and go, okay, this is something I have to do. If I don't do this, then I'm not living my true self or my purpose.
Yeah.
And that was a big inflection point.
Yeah. What a lovely place to arrive to, though. I mean, it will niggle at you and pick away at you, but until it manifests its way into depression if you're not doing the thing that you are
it's exactly what happened,
destined to do. And then what happens is you look at your life and you go, this is just one massive string of shit choices that I'm making, but why am I keep making these shit choices? But it's because you're not aligned with the thing that you're supposed to be doing. And as soon as you do, isn't it interesting, and hopefully you can agree with me here, how little resistance there is when you are on the right path. It's almost like there's a gust of wind pushing you forward.
For sure. There's a higher power that works. Some people call it God. Some people call it the universe. Some people call it Allah. Some people call it whomever.
Yeah.
And, I've experienced that firsthand.
Yeah.
100%. Like there's so many things and choices I'm making right now which defy logic, yet they just keep falling into place. Not every single one of them. There's still some touching up here and touching up there. But when you can start to observe the lessons and the patterns, you can really see that there is help from a higher power, but you need to tap into that.
You do.
And I think for people listening to the podcast now, if you're an up and coming creative, or if you're someone that's middle-aged, or you're someone at any point in life and you want to express yourself, get into a creative work, whether it's acting, whether it's being a director, whether it's being a musician, like there's never a right time to do it. Well, there's never a wrong time to do it. There's always a right time to do it. And it's just taking that first step.
Yeah.
And having an expectation, like you've been in this industry now for what, coming up 10 years, I'm guessing?
More than that.
More?
21.
Okay, 21, okay.
In film, doing film stuff.
Yeah, right, of course, because it went back to...
When I was 18, I did that film.
Yeah, okay. Yeah,
but
and so then Whopper was at 27.
Yeah.
Yeah, so that's 20 years. And 20 years is an interesting number, because I feel for some people, like 20 years is a number where like the magic really starts to pop off. Some people will get it before, but 20 years, I think you could kind of carve yours down to like since you were at Whopper, I guess that's when you took it up a notch.
Or even since I agreed to get an agent and take myself seriously and go, if I'm going to do this, if I'm not just going to waste time treading water here.
Yeah. Talk me through that. I'm not represented at the moment. It's something that I've been thinking about very seriously, and I've been starting to open up some conversations. I was represented in Melbourne for briefly, just for like extras work and like small screen stuff.
Yeah.
I worked on a few big movies. I'm on stand on a couple of films at the moment as like a policeman and stuff.
Fantastic.
Random stuff.
Love it.
But didn't have any dialogue. And then COVID hit and it just shut that door for me. Then I moved cities. When you looked for your agent, like what was some of the things what was the process like? How did you reach out to them? How did you build a connection and a conversation?
Okay, so I had the dream scenario where this doesn't really happen very often. I had the dream scenario where my agent approached me.
Wow.
Because I was teaching kids at her Screen Academy.
Yeah, okay.
And it was connected. And she said, listen here, are you represented? And I said, I'm not. And she said, are you interested in representation? Because if you are happy for that if you're happy to get represented, I'd love to represent you. And I think I got a TV commercial, I wasn't the hero in the TV commercial, but I had my first TV commercial through within a few months.
Like a lead extra role, perhaps.
It was a background actor in the ad.
Yep.
And then of course you build your way up, and then you start being the hero in the ads, the hero shot. But the lead, whatever you want to call it.
Yep.
But I had a different sort of experience than a lot of people do.
Yep.
But some of my peers, they've had to sort of start with an agent that might be a more boutique agent where they don't have as many people on their books. Or they might know somebody that recommends them that gets them into another agency. It can work so many different ways. Again, there is no wrong or right way. The wrong way is, actually there is a wrong way. Don't harass people because the industry's small, and if you're annoying, no one's going to work with you, because that's just going to give them an idea. If you're hounding someone to get represented by them, they're probably just going to get some future distillation of what you're going to be like as a client, always emailing, going, where's the work? Where's the work?
Yeah.
You know, we're going to trust that they're doing the right thing. But I guess if I was going to give any advice about how to approach getting an agent, first of all, they need to know that you've done a little bit of work for yourself. So have a show reel that has clips of things you've done. If you don't have any, get some stuff filmed.
Yeah. So could this be on an iPhone? Like everyone's got an iPhone nowadays. So like, you talking on an iPhone?
I'm talking like just, it could even be a really nice audition tape that you've done, or a monologue at the very least. I mean, it's always it does look a lot better if it's a piece of work that's been on TV or out at the cinema or an independent film or something like that. Those are a lot more attractive for someone representing, looking to represent you. But even if you don't have that, you can film a tape on your phone. The quality of iPhones now is incredible.
Yeah.
And, you know, not just iPhones, mobile phones in general.
Cell phones in general,
yeah. And they even do film competitions now where it's all shot on a phone.
Yeah.
So there's really no excuse for people now not to be able to put something together on their own.
Yeah.
If that's what they want, there's no real hurdles there anymore.
And what should some of the things, I know you said like, you know, snippets of like from a film or a project you worked on, but let's say you've got a complete greenhorn, someone that's not done anything at all. What would you do if you took yourself back to day one, what would you put in your reel now? Knowing what you know now, what would you put in that reel?
I would, I'd find a short scene. You don't want your reel to be more than 2 or 3 minutes because people don't have time.
Yeah.
And you really want to catch them pretty quickly. So you can find a scene, even if you're doing a scene from something that already exists, just to get going, just so that they can see how you are on film, on camera, how you move, how you sound, are you listening, and have a good reader reading opposite you. If you're really green, first, before you even do any of that, go to an acting class. Yeah. Because instantly when you're in an acting class, your instructor's there to support you. Then you're automatically in a network of people that are, you know, of varying levels of skill and experience. They can help as well. You got to lean on the community and also, you know, be available to help when they want to film things as well. And then you can use that stuff. Getting stuff made, there are student films getting made all over the shop. Any uni film course, they're always once a year needing actors for their films. Yeah. Yeah, so you just keep your eyes peeled for those sorts of things as well.
Fantastic. Amazing. We're going to have a little quick break. I've got a question I'm going to ask you that you're going to answer after the break.
Ooh.
How important is the network in building your career as a professional actor in this country? Thanks for listening to the podcast, guys. This is sponsored by Sky Video and Talent Corp. If you'd like to have amazing talent, famous celebrities representing your business, Talent Corp are the ones for you. Reach out to Sky Video. We can connect you and you can have some amazing people telling your brand story. Thank you for tuning into the podcast.
Great question. It's everything. A lot of people might turn around and say, you know, I'm self-made, all that stuff. The effort that you put in, like, yeah, that is all you. But you need to be part of, and you need to have a network around you. Where do you get your information? Where do you get a reader when you're doing an audition? How do you find ways to contribute back into the industry? And where does that go if not for that network? You want people to be saying nice things about you because somebody's involved in something somewhere. And so having good relationships is really important. People are more likely to invest in an actor who is known and liked and works hard, and they've heard that by word of mouth through that network. You can have a certain skill set, but at the end of the day, if you're not nice to work with, the word gets around pretty quick. So the network is really important. Support and encouragement and opportunity.
And so can you dive deeper on a couple of those points there? You mentioned around like having someone to read for you.
Great. So to read for you if you are doing an audition tape. So an audition comes through, you get the brief, you get the sides, which are the section of the script, and where to start that, where to finish it. And the person that you have read for you will read the opposite lines that you then react to. I wouldn't really encourage trying to do it without a human being because it's just not going to be an authentic exchange. And it's going to be really obvious.
You can't use an AI app on your phone.
Well, look, I've been in a pickle before and been out of town and had no actors around to help me. And I have had my Yui Boom speaker. I've had my ring light, fortunately, because if I know that there's projects happening, I'll take my equipment with me.
Fantastic.
I don't want to miss an opportunity because I'm not prepared.
This is a freaking good tip right here, yo. This is great.
What they say, luck is when opportunity meets preparation, right? Yep. So part of the preparation is going, I could get an audition.
Yep.
Am I ready to go?
Yep.
And that relieves you of so much stress instantly. Mm-hmm. But just to go back to the reading part, I have an app on my phone. It's called Line Learner.
No way, cool.
And I read both sets of lines into that app when I'm learning it.
You populate the script into the app and then you can break it into like a character, B character for basic pretense and then have it read back. That's
read back to you.
That's
so
awesome.
Sometimes when there has been 1 or 2 occasions in my career so far where reluctantly I've had to use it.
Yep.
But I just changed the pitch of the voice so you can't tell it's my voice.
Wow, awesome.
Yeah.
So then let's humanize this then. So who would be an ideal person for you to read with? And who do you get to read with?
What you probably find is that you have people that you feel more comfortable with and that will give you honest feedback in the moment. So I do have a couple of people I will generally call on, and I know that in the moment they're comfortable working the scene with me. I think my favourite person to read opposite is my brother.
Nice, okay.
We just have a real laugh with it. And as you can imagine with siblings, there's zero filter.
You've only got one brother, right?
Yeah.
I've met him.
Yeah, Bruce.
Yeah, Bruce.
Yeah, Brucey boy. I love that guy. And he's just so supportive. He'll come around to my house at like 8 o'clock at night because I've had this last minute audition. Or he's just really supportive. I think he's planning on reaping the benefits if my career goes somewhere though. So I'll give him that.
Yeah, nice. That's cool. That's cool. That's amazing. And so, okay, so has he got any aspiration to get into the industry at all?
Interestingly enough, no. And he's a great actor.
Yeah, right.
There's been a couple of auditions where I've put him on camera, flipped the scene and put him on camera and sent that to my agent. Yeah. And, he's had good feedback. He's just not really interested in pursuing it as a career. And I don't blame him. It's hard work.
Let's go into this.
Yeah.
What a great segue.
Yeah.
Why is it hard work?
Because there's a lot of effort and time and emotion spent with, no necessary rewards, but the reward is the journey. So it's really hard. You've got to love it, right? I guess I'm not a parent, but I can imagine that another sort of relationship is like parenting. You're working on this thing and you're growing this thing and you're loving this thing, and it might still not turn out great, but it'll turn out how it turns out, and you've got to love it for the way that it is. I don't know. Sometimes I say that.
Good analogy.
Sometimes I say that my performance career is kind of like Stockholm syndrome. It beats me the hell up, but I keep coming back.
You're in love with your captor.
Yeah, I'm in love with my captor, but it's just it might be one of those things again, like you don't know how to explain it to somebody who's not in it.
Yeah.
But if I was going to give my best shot, it's hard, and the rewards are delayed.
So a lot of people that don't know the reality of our industry, to give them a little snapshot up to speed, whether it's production or talent, we're all in it together. You're dragged out to crazy locations at weird times of night. I've had call times at like 10 p.m. at night, wrapping at 4 a.m. and standing in the freezing cold, doing the same scene 25 times and then going back to the crafty and sitting there having a cup of tea, waiting for them to move 2 cameras and 5 lights, while they frame up for the next scene or whatever.
Yeah.
What has your experience been like? What's some of the realities of being on sets, especially the bigger sets? What's that like?
I was really fortunate in this most recent project that they were all pretty standard times we were coming to work and then going home.
So you're shooting daytime then?
Mostly.
Okay.
I had a scene where it was filmed at night and it was getting quite late and it was right at the end of the day. And the thing is, I wasn't there all day, but the crew was.
Yeah, okay.
And you don't have those moments. If you love what you're doing and you love being a part of it, you don't complain because you know someone's working way longer and harder than you are,
Yeah.
Especially as an actor. And, you know, we get treated so well on set, but they're doing the hardest part, lifting the equipment, setting up the equipment, standing around and waiting. They have to be listening, ready for their next cue, you know. So I take my hat off to them. But
did you have an assistant on the 12?
An assistant? Did
Yeah.
I personally?
Did you have one? Yeah.
No, they had a production assistant that helped everybody. So I didn't have anybody. I was like, garçon. No, I didn't have anything like that. Nor do I think I'd be comfortable with
Did
something like
Sam or Francis have one?
Well, Sam has a really lovely relationship with his hair and makeup team.
Yep.
And I think that they end up sort of being that extra bit of support because he's had them around for years.
Right. So he takes that
Yeah, he takes
team
his,
with him. Yeah. Okay. So that's
Yeah.
his little posse.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I think that's the beauty of being in his position.
Yeah.
I mean, without spilling the tea too much.
Sure.
Yeah, you work with the people that you're most comfortable with.
He's been doing it for 45, 50 years.
Yeah, that's
probably.
right.
Like,
Yeah.
a long time.
Yeah, and you build your people around you, right?
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah. Do you have people that you are, if you're doing something, you go to, they're your go-tos?
Absolutely, 100%.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's taken a while to build up those relationships.
Mm.
But yeah, whether it's DOPs in particular, like directors of photography, we've got a few really great DOPs that I partner with a lot.
Yeah.
And we're in an interesting position because like we're trying to bite off so much of the pie and we're trying to do something, my business partner and I, Reese, we're trying to do something really big and we're doing it completely self-funded for like the 99.9% of it part. We've had a teeny bit of investment, but I'm talking like teeny bit, but very grateful, but not a number that would shift the needle.
Yeah.
And we've had to like call on these people and you know, we sometimes pay them very, very well. But sometimes things don't go as smooth as we'd like them to. Because we just don't have the consistent volume kicking in all the time. It can be a little bit up and down. We're trying to remedy that.
Yeah.
But we are so grateful for those people we've got these relationships with and we know how special they are. And all we're doing at the moment is just putting out there as much love and communication and I guess just good energy to them, just saying that like, please like stick with us, just trust us. Like this is going to be great and we're going to bring all of you along for this ride. And there's no fucking way I'm going to give up, quit or fail. Like it's not going to happen.
And they know that about you, obviously.
I think so. And I fucking hope so. You know, actually, ironically had a bit of a not so great conversation with someone this morning. They're not in the industry though. They're one of our I guess service providers for something else. And I could tell he's a little bit, you know, not so happy with a few things at the moment. And I'm just like, look, dude, we're doing our best. You know, we're not even 2 years old as a production company. So we're still quite new. Depending on who you talk to, like production is just all over the place now with COVID. You had the film actors strikes, Screen Actors Guild strikes last year. Yeah. You know, you've had COVID. The whole industry's pivoted now, like, you know, budgets are changing, streaming services are popping off. The way the whole industry just continues to shift, and we're lucky because we're new, so we're nimble and we can try and adapt as quick as we can, but we're also trying to hyper learn as quick as we can. And for the most part, it's an industry that's very well guarded because there is a big culture of like, it's not just what you know, it's who you know as well. And so my biggest, I guess, focus is just always trying to do the right thing by people at every chance we can and try to build genuine, meaningful relationships without any expectation of getting something back.
Yeah, that's really lovely. You know, that's so nice.
And that I just, you know, I'm sure that will serve and pay off. But like you said before, Chippy, like for me, the best thing about this isn't the one day I'm going to have a big home and I'm going to have a big this and a big that. Like if I wanted those things, I could have kept going in my last job and continued to get those things.
Slug it out in the rat race.
Right, exactly. Slug it out in the rat race. And, you saw me in the rat race. And, but for me, it's the journey and it's the places and the experiences we get to have in this industry. Like I don't think there's another industry quite like this.
There isn't.
That takes you to the places that you go and for the reasons you want to go. Like if I think of an air hostess would probably be the closest, like a pilot or an air hostess flying around the world because of their job. They're taking people there. That's awesome. Freaking love that. I love aviation. Cool fucking job.
Yeah.
However, we have another layer of depth to that because we go through that process of going on the journey to the place, but we end up usually connecting with local people on a much deeper level because we're working with local crews. We're not just there for a vacation. We're there to work. We then have to get a complex understanding of the area that we're in, whether it's climate, whether it's political, whether it's tribal, whether it's, historical. There's so many elements that then start getting tied into the production work to make that film or to shoot that commercial, right? So it just takes you to the most craziest places on earth that you never think you're going to visit, or maybe you dream of visiting one day, and then bang, you find yourself there with a film crew and a bunch of cameras, and you're there making a movie or you're there shooting a commercial. It's crazy.
Yeah, and just adding on to that though, with all of that in mind, it also costs you something on an emotional and psychological level in terms of, you have this imagination baby that you put out into the world ready for criticism or, backlash.
Yeah.
100%. It costs.
Yeah.
It costs you something at a soul level, but it costs you more if you're not doing it.
Yeah.
So it's like you're adding all of that into it. And I'm not saying that we're amazing because we're doing this industry, but
Sure.
It takes a certain level of endurance and personal strength, and willpower.
It does.
To sustain it.
It does. It's so relevant. I'm glad you brought it up because, again, this isn't us playing violins here. This is us actually just sharing the realities of what it's like to do what we do and to offer what we offer. Like in the ad world, the advertising world, which is like one of my primary sources of how we make revenue, that really hit home for me a couple of years ago where the production value started getting bigger and then the time to pull them off got longer. And I'm like, okay, there's only so many fucking hours in a day now. I only want to align myself with people, and some other guests we've had on here said similar things. You've got to have buy-in from the customers. And I think it's really important to explain that to people because there is so much more that goes into it behind the scenes. There is a huge emotional gift or offering that gets put into the production, and that's the passion element, and that's the bit that invokes the emotion, and you get to feel it. Hopefully, if we do our jobs properly, we move an audience, we shift an audience, they feel inspired to then take action. And hopefully it's making the world a better place or a more educated and informed place.
Awake and aware place. Self-reflective place even too.
Exactly. Yeah. 100%.
That is so cool. Oh, that's such nice stuff.
What kind of films do you enjoy watching the most when you're sitting at home putting Netflix on? What kind of genre do you punch into?
Pretty much anything Wes Anderson makes.
Oh, nice.
Love Wes.
How many times have you watched some of his films? Like pick one of his films you've watched the most. How many times do you reckon you've watched it?
Oh, I think I've probably watched his main handful of his big ones. Maybe about 4 times each.
Yeah, nice.
Roughly. It's one of those things if you want to relax and you just want to switch off but also still be engaged somehow.
Yeah.
You put a film on that right? It soothes you.
Yeah.
And you always, no matter where you are in life at the time when you're watching, you'll find something new.
Yeah.
It's really cool.
Have you? Absolutely. I totally agree. Have you seen his Prada commercial on YouTube?
I have not.
With,
is it cool?
Costa della something or other,
really?
the Italian race car driver.
I don't think
it's
I
an
have.
8-minute short.
Wow.
I'll send it to you and I'll drop a link. I'll drop a link into the bio for this. It's a little 8-minute short that Prada commissioned.
Great.
And shot and directed by Wes Anderson. It's very funny.
What about you? What about your film sort of go-to genre / favourite films?
I love thrillers.
Yeah.
I do like thrillers. I like anything with a bit of a mind fuck.
Yeah.
And one of my favorite directors is Christopher Nolan.
Yeah, great.
He's incredible.
Yeah.
The fact that you have to watch his movies like 3 or 4 times just to understand what's actually going on. Like Inception took me 4 goes to really understand it.
Yeah.
I think I've seen Inception now probably 100 times.
What an art though, right?
man,
to
it's
just to be able to, but also that's a really sophisticated filmmaker there. He doesn't assume that people are idiots.
Yeah.
So he's not spelling anything out. He's making it as challenging
Yes.
as possible
Yes.
because that's the work he wants to make.
Yeah.
And if people are on board for that, they will watch it a few times to figure it out.
100%. And I listened to an interview with him or a podcast with him just actually like a week ago. And he literally said he'd kind of got some data on it. And he's like, people actually watch films multiple times. We know that they'll see it at the cinema. We know that when it comes out on home TV or cable, they'll watch it again.
Yeah.
And then now with streaming services and whatnot, they'll then also watch it another time. So he'd already kind of like, you know, had the understanding and realization that people will watch a movie several times over. And then his next thought was, okay, well, if I know the audience is going to watch it a few times, then why don't I make it intrinsically detailed so it is something that unravels, you know, along the journey with them, which I thought was very cool.
That is really cool. Yeah,
Yeah.
great filmmaker there.
Yeah, and he started off doing interviews and corporate videos.
Well,
back in the
looky
day.
here.
Back in the day.
Looky here. Would you asked me a question earlier, whose trajectory, like, do I admire, well, in other, so many words, would he be one of yours? Or
100%.
Yeah.
100%. Yeah.
Yeah.
I know I need to focus on my writing a lot more now.
Yeah.
But yeah, I find him very inspiring. I feel that what he's achieved is absolutely extraordinary.
Yeah.
And I would like to give it my best shot at becoming as good as him.
Yeah,
And
well,
if
he's
I
shown
could
what's
get
possible.
exactly, and if I could get even halfway there,
Yeah.
then I'll be
Still a
pretty
win.
stoked to myself.
Yeah.
And hopefully that with the advances in technology and with the way the world evolves, that there's a possibility that I might be able to even surpass him.
Yeah.
Right. And that's not an
Yeah.
arrogant comment. That's using technology tools and all the things that I've learned from him and other filmmakers to then create something that pushes the next boundary.
And I think even someone like him would
You
be
know?
excited for that.
Yeah.
You know, you want to be, he's a mover and shaker in the industry, and he's really come in and disrupted people's expectations of what films are with his work in a good way. And to see someone come in and maybe even disrupt that further, I think that would actually give him a artistic boner.
100% artistic boner. I love it.
I meant to say an artistic boner.
An artistic
Let's get
boner.
the grammar right.
Yeah. An artistic boner.
Scrub that.
So it's interesting you say that. Watched a really cool podcast recently with Alex Hormozy.
Alex Hormozy. Why
Does that name ring a bell?
Yeah, it does, but why?
He's like an entrepreneur, a huge entrepreneur. He has a company called acquisitions.com. He gives away all this free strategy online, and basically he gives you the blueprint of how to take a company from 0 to 5 million for free. He's like, go get to 5 mil. When you get to 5 mil, then talk to us, and then we'll see if we want to invest in your company or invest in you or whatever, right? So big player, freaking legend. My business partner loves him. A lot of people I know are getting into him or are into him. And he did this really cool podcast with Lewis, someone, I forget Lewis's name right now, but great channel, great podcast. And, you know, they were talking about like, you know, the younger generation coming up and how technology is making it easier. The Lewis guy was slightly jaded by it. He's like, yeah, like those bastards, you know? And Alex is like, no. No, this is the way it should be.
Yeah.
Technology is designed to make things easier for people. That's what we want. We want it to be easier for the next generation to make more money than us, to have a better quality of life.
Yeah.
And if you look back through history, all the things that the previous generations have done have created a better quality of life for us.
Evolution.
Right, exactly. And that was a really beautiful perspective.
Yeah.
And then I look at my career against some of the heroes I've got, not necessarily the full elite Hollywood tiers, but if I bring it more home to like independent filmmakers, I'm pretty close. I'm pretty sure, quietly confident that I'm starting to achieve things that they haven't achieved or didn't achieve.
Yeah, on a slightly advanced timeline even?
Correct. On a slightly advanced timeline. And the two main things I put that down to is technology and mentors.
Yeah, learning from the people that came before you.
Exactly.
I mean, it's silly to not use that.
Correct.
Because genius leaves clues, right?
Mm-hmm.
So to not take that information
Yep.
is so silly, but
Yep.
you're setting yourself back.
I had a mentoring session yesterday with a young photographer who took my picture a few weekends ago. His name's Cameron as well, ironically.
Oh.
He's 27 years old, great photographer. And he's been to film school and he wants to become a film director. Sat down with him and he pulled out his phone. So I said, you're going to have to take some notes, bro. Like, I'm going to blow your fucking mind apart.
Yeah.
And he took a bunch of notes down. And I gave him like 7 years of insight and of actionable things. And if he does those steps and really focuses on them, and I've made myself available to him and said, bro, if you need to bounce an idea, just call me.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
I can advance him through the 3 or 4 years of fucking shit that I had to do.
Yeah.
I can take that all away from him and get him straight to that point, and then he can springboard from there.
Yeah.
And that's like what you're saying before, then being involved in this community in the industry.
Contribution.
Is then contributing back. How do you give back? We're here to serve.
That's right. Yeah, it feels so good to be able to help elevate people around you. And as soon as you get out of that mentality that it's competition and it's collaboration instead, and I don't know, just really getting out of that competition headspace.
Yep.
And contributing and being collaborative.
Yep.
That's where the acceleration happens.
Yeah. There's plenty of work out there for all of us.
There's enough.
There's plenty of money out there for all of us times 1 billion times over.
Yeah.
Like
this whole idea
why do
that
we
it's
fight each other?
Yeah,
it's so stupid.
It is so silly.
Yeah,
like, get on board, share the love.
I don't get much of it. We've been really lucky. We've only had a couple of people. Like, my business partner called up a studio in Sydney a few months ago, and the guy's like, "You're the competition. You can get fucked." And we're like, "All right, we'll remember you guys."
Wow.
And I've only had one other guy that got shitty at me personally, and was like, "You're competition. Cool. Don't talk to him again. That's fine." But 99% of everyone else in the industry is very, very open, very sharing, wonderful, collaborative kind of mindset. And I think that's one thing that I really like about our industry, and I hope it stays like that.
It feels supportive. I mean, I don't know if that's all over the world or if it's just kind of in Australia how it's this supportive.
Yeah.
It's a different kind of machine elsewhere, I get the impression. But I did something similar. It might have seemed weird. In hindsight, it's very weird now that I'm saying it out loud. I actually was on LinkedIn and I found, I came across this person. It said, you might like to connect with this person. It was an actor. And I looked at the profile and I could see that this person was very green and they'd put on there, happy to work for free, and had all this other information about just starting out, I'm a new actor. And I thought, okay, I need to contact this person. Not to give them my opinion, but just to go, hey, I'm going to give you a little bit of a shortcut here and help you understand your value. So I said, do you want to meet me for a coffee? Again, very weird, cold calling someone and being like, I got to meet with you. Basically, I said, I just want to tell you one thing. Remove off your profile that you will do it for free.
Yeah, right.
Know your worth from the beginning.
Nice.
You are worth what you believe you're worth. And if you put down that you're free, that's how other people are going to treat you and waste your time. And anyway, I'm not saying that was because of that meeting, but he instantly went home and made the changes because I checked on it, and he took on board everything. He got himself into some classes. He applied for some films. He now, I believe, he has a real decent agent. Like, stuff started to happen. And he was open to receiving that information from some weird lady that contacted him out of the blue. Amazing. He was a young guy. Amazing. He was only like 20.
Yeah.
And I just thought, oh gosh, that could be a really time-wasting mistake. Just 2 words in that sentence for free.
You just changed the whole trajectory of his career.
Not necessarily.
100% you did. 100% you did, because you just unlocked a whole new core belief system in his DNA.
That's important, yeah.
And it's so interesting you bring this up, because this is something I want to talk about. In fact, we're going to have a little break and we're going to come back and talk about this topic, because knowing your self-worth is huge. Guys, thanks for listening to the podcast. This is sponsored by Sky Video and Talent Corp. If you want amazing talent to represent your business, do not hesitate to reach out to Sky Video or Talent Corp and talk about the amazing people we've got on our books that can talk to your customers and get you more exposure. Thanks for listening to the podcast. We're with Jennah here, an amazing Australian actress. Jennah,
Yeah,
knowing your self-worth, are you okay? You had a little bit of a cough going in the break. Are you all good?
I did. I thought breathing in my water was the way to consume it. I didn't say I was smart.
You didn't activate your gills today?
No, go gadget gills. No,
Go gadget gills.
I didn't.
So knowing your self-worth.
Yeah.
So you reached out to this guy. He had, I'll do shit for free. Classic new up and coming artist. It's such a polarizing topic. This. Some people swear that you should do some work for free in the beginning. Other people are like, absolutely fucking not. Where do you sit on that fence?
I will do work for free. I just don't tell people I do work for free.
Except for everyone listening to this podcast.
If I believe in the project,
Yep.
if it excites me, then it's worth me investing my time. But time is a non-renewable resource or source, right? So you're either spending it, wasting it, or investing it. And if I find a group of people who are making a piece of work and maybe they don't have the money to pay me, but I know they're going to finish it, I know they're going to get it into some festivals, I know that it's a really great message and it's going to change people's lives just watching it, yeah, I'm going to do that, and I'm going to do it for love.
So that's a calculated approach, isn't it? That's a strategic, I'll do it for exposure, but these are my prerequisites. It's got to be, an experienced team that's going to see the project through, actually get it done, and we're going to get an outcome. Yep.
Exactly. I'm not standing by the river on a 2-degree evening mucking around for something that's not going to get finished.
Yep.
It's got to be worthwhile, and everybody kind of needs to win out of it as well.
Yeah.
I don't want to see, I won't, if I'm on a project and I'm watching somebody work really hard and I know they're getting nothing and they're treated like crap, that's something I would put my hand up and say that's not appropriate.
Yeah.
And also I wouldn't want to be a part of a project like that. If everybody's holding everybody up, that is, you're getting payment from being around your people.
Yeah. Yeah.
But yeah, so no, I won't say I'll do it for free. But if they say, I've got this project, usually the right way to do it is they'll approach you and say, look, I've got this project. It's micro budget, as in non-existent. How do you feel about that? And you have the choice at the start to say, all right, well, let's talk more about it. What's happening with it? What's the direction? What's the trajectory? Can there be something learned from it? I'm not going to do the same role over and over again for free.
Right. Okay. Yeah, so you could see it as a bit of an opportunity to enhance your skill set as well.
Yeah, it's all practice, and it all adds. It all leads to the bigger picture.
Yeah. And
that body of work, even going back to show reel stuff.
Yeah.
I might get to do a really great little film, which I did recently.
Yeah.
And it was funded by DADA, which is the disability funding for film.
Right. Okay.
Or for the arts.
Yeah.
And now that wasn't a paid gig, but it paid off.
Yeah, nice.
Like it's paid off working with those professionals who also donated their time.
Yeah.
Really great people in the industry. You're learning as well.
Yeah.
You're going to school in public in these things.
Yeah.
So it's.
Are you employed in any other way at all? Do you have like a part-time job, full-time job, or are you just doing acting at the moment?
I would love for acting to be my primary cash flow.
Yeah.
But I'm kind of glad it's not, because I don't put too much pressure on it.
Yes.
I am a celebrant as well, so I will I'll do funerals and weddings.
Yeah.
That's my gig.
Yeah.
I teach acting as well for a youth screen academy.
How many days a week are you doing that?
Just the one
Nice.
at the moment.
Yeah.
I was doing 5 classes at once at one time, and I just felt I was on autopilot.
Yeah.
A little bit at the time, and I just went, no, I think I'd rather just do this once a week and do it properly.
Yeah.
Because that's what the students deserve.
Yeah.
They deserve me to be as excited about the material, teaching it as they are learning it.
Yeah.
And when you're doing it too frequently, when I was doing it too frequently, some of that was lost.
Yeah. Okay.
So I stepped back.
Yeah.
From it.
So that's burnout.
And I have a cleaning business.
Nice. Okay. Cool.
Yeah.
Okay.
So
Commercial or residential?
Both. So
Both,
the multiple streams of income.
Yeah.
I don't ever feel pinned down like I need to be at any one place at a time.
You're in the driver's seat with a lot of it.
Yeah.
You got your schedule sorted out.
I'm the boss.
Yeah.
And it allows time for stuff like this.
Yeah.
Like I make my schedule.
Yeah,
And doesn't
nice.
that feel good?
That does feel good.
Yeah.
That's amazing.
You're the same, right?
Yeah. Yeah. To a point. Yeah.
If you've got a booking, it's a bit different. You have to work,
Absolutely.
that.
Like if there's a shoot happening that I need to be there for, then I'm there. But then the rest of my time is very much, I guess, operations and I don't know, just wearing many different hats with my team. Yeah. But I'm very lucky. I've got an amazing team. It's changes in size a little bit at times, but yeah, we've got some really incredible people that are way smarter than me and way more talented than me doing various things at Sky Video.
Yeah.
And I'm very, very blessed for that.
And that was going to be a question earlier, if you don't mind me just taking that segue there. Do you make a conscious effort to employ people who have more expansive skill set to you so that you can have the best product, A, and then B, learn from them? Is that something you do consciously or?
Yeah, absolutely. I think like if I was to split that atom, whether it's pulling a crew together to make a movie or to do production work, or if it's to have people collaborate on the business, then, you know, one of the biggest lessons I learned from one of my mentors a few years ago was always get experienced people. There was one mentor that went with the school of thought of like get juniors and train them up. We tested that and it didn't work very well at all. That's not to say that we wouldn't, you know, work with juniors or hire juniors, but it would have to be in a much more contained situation where they can learn and they can be mentored hands-on.
Yeah.
And our organization's not that big yet. We don't have that luxury. So we need to have people that are self-motivated and that are bringing skill sets to the table, particularly because the projects that we work on, like some of our clients pay an awful lot of money, like 6 figures for like one video, which is a lot of money. And so we need to make sure we're deploying like the best of the best to do those projects.
Yeah, that's how you get your name out there as well.
Yeah, that's right. You don't want to fuck it up.
They tell their people?
Yeah, we hope so.
Yeah.
We hope so.
That's a really good place to be at, Cam.
Yes, thank you. Yeah, it's all quite new for us still. But we're doing some very exciting projects and we've got some amazing partners, amazing clients. And the collaboration with us and our clients is definitely one of the most fun parts when the client trusts us and we open that real dialogue where it goes from like, are these guys trying to sell us something to, no, okay, these guys, they know what they're doing and we can be guided by them. And then when we're able to step into that and put down some options and, you know, I think one of the most important things you can do is always listen to your customer or potential customer, because a lot of the times they've got all the answers, they've got all the clues. You just need to extract it from them and understand what they want and then deliver it to an outcome that's going to get them the results that they want. And that doesn't matter if you're making a commercial, whether it's like a documentary that we've shot, whether it's a creative project like a music video, you know, where it's like artist on artist and they're like, I want it to look like this and I want it to feel like this, you know, like our production company and my work over the last 8 years has touched on all of those elements, whether it's for, you know, feature films on, you know, in the cinema and Netflix and stuff, or whether it's a bit more homegrown. Those same principles apply. And that's why I've stuck with the advertising world and will continue to in some capacity because, you know, like basic example, right? Chris Hemsworth, one of the biggest actors in the world, he still does commercials for Hugo Boss. Yeah. He goes into the studio.
They're mini stories.
Has his picture taken, mini story with the bottle of, you know, cologne.
Yeah.
And, you know, like, and it's how we make money in this industry, you know, is through advertising, promoting and storytelling. If you're lucky to get to the point where you're very close to, or where I'm trying to get to, where you can sustain a really comfortable salary just from the artistic projects.
Yeah.
Right. Or if the clients, you can start getting your clients, which is one of my dreams with Sky, is to get the clients trusting us so much that they're like, what are your creative ideas? And we're starting to touch on that now.
Yeah.
But when they can really say, what do you guys think we should do?
So you become more of a consultancy rather than the people that put it together.
Yeah. And I'm going to give away a little secret, right, that I've really learned thanks to mentors in the last 6 months. Strategy plus messaging equals creative.
Oh, do you want to extrapolate a little?
Strategy plus messaging equals creative. So it's one thing to have the opportunity to create an idea.
Yeah.
But how are you going to come up with an idea? Well, One way is just to throw darts at a dartboard until someone goes, oh, that's cool. Nice. So then how do you make the creative idea relative or relevant rather to the organization or to the project? Well, the first thing you need to do is you need to be strategic and you need to figure out what the project needs and what's the point.
Yeah.
And then you need to take that strategy and design the messaging around it.
Mm-hmm.
Those are two very simple words that sit at the top of a highly complex process that then comes after that. A lot of brain power, a lot of thinking power. But they're two big things that I would happily share with people.
That's great.
Strategy plus messaging equals creative. So if you're writing a script for a movie, where's the movie going to go? How long's the movie going to be?
Yeah.
Who's my audience? Have you done a target audience analysis? Right? And I think these things, like, I'm not sure if every writer in the history of writing films and novels has ever done that, or if they've just got a story and they just really want to fucking write it.
Get the story out,
But I'm pretty sure, like, if you sat down with Quentin Tarantino and Christopher Nolan,
he's got a strategy.
A bunch of others, they know exactly what they're fucking doing.
Yeah.
They know exactly what they're doing.
You don't have that kind of career unless you do have some sort of process.
Yeah,
like
exactly.
That. Yeah.
Exactly. And especially, like, once you get your first film in the bag, then film 2, film 3, film 4, I think you'd go even deeper on those things because, like, you're in the business. It's called the film business. It's there to make money. And the studios will only throw money at those that, you know, are going to get a return on investment.
And there's a formula for that.
And there's a fucking formula.
Yeah. Yeah. If only, see, it's really great that, you know, you're not even halfway through your career. You're just really at the genesis of it because it's
I'm
feeling.
at the beginning, man.
Yeah. I mean, don't you always want to be at the beginning kind of
It's so fun. It's so fun. And Chippy, I had the luxury of being, like, a little bit older when I got into the business, right? I was like 30, 31. And I remember sitting in my apartment in Subiaco. I had this cool loft apartment.
Jealous.
And I remember sitting in there and, like, I was so broke. My power had been turned off twice because I couldn't pay the power bill. So I'm in this beautiful apartment with no electricity for 2 nights.
Starving artist.
Yeah, starving artist, 100%. And I literally remember, like, I would open up my little 13-inch MacBook Pro that I had and I'd start editing the vlog or whatever, or my little short video I was making for Facebook that day or whatever. And I literally sat in that place and I was like, dude, these are going to be some of your most fun days of your career. These are going to be ones you're going to remember. And I remember 4 or 5 years forward of that, then going through a big project or a new project coming up or not having enough projects or whatever, just going like, fuck, I wish I was back in that apartment just punching out, because it was complete freedom. I had no expectation. I had no one over me going, you have to do this. I had fucking nothing to lose. Nothing to lose. It was such a beautiful place to be.
Yeah.
But now you have to gamify shit. Now I'm going to get a little bit deep here, so sit with me for a second. I had a 3-hour psychotherapy session on Tuesday.
Wow.
3 hours. It was intense. Massive shout out to one of my best friends, John Elliott, the Camelman. He hooked it up with me, with Boris. And one of the big lessons I'm learning now is to completely detach from everything still, yet the stakes are higher. You know, there's so much more risk at play now. I've got a team of people and the projects we're doing are like way more ambitious, way bigger. And we have to make sure that everyone gets taken care of. And it's a huge responsibility. But if you gamify that and do all the right things, then hopefully it all fucking works out.
Yeah. Yeah, that could be a big scary beast if you're not looking at it with the right eyes. Mm-hmm. That is a lot of responsibility. But also too, if you drop the ball, not because you weren't working hard enough, but because it didn't work, like nobody dies.
Right.
The worst case scenario is, you muddy your name a little bit, but you can work your way back up again.
Totally agree.
Improve yourself
Totally
again.
agree.
And the stakes they are really high because you want this thing badly.
Yeah.
And that will set you back if it goes wrong. But also too, I think we got to remember we're not just judged by the things we get right. We're also judged by how we rectify the things that go wrong.
Yes.
Or how we deal with the things that go wrong, because we're human and we're going to make mistakes.
Own your shit, man.
And some of the most beautiful things are born from mistakes.
Mm-hmm.
Right?
Yeah.
And, you didn't you didn't get to pay. You made a mistake. You didn't earn enough money to pay your power bill back in that Subi house for that couple of days, but that made you hungry enough to work harder.
Yeah.
Like literally.
Motivation.
It built that for you.
Definitely.
When you could see down the line and go, this is going to be something that I remember fondly.
Yeah.
Even though right now I'm freezing because it's the middle of winter. I don't know what month it was, but still.
What was that? It was summer. It was summer. So lucky
You
it
need
wasn't
the
cold.
aircon then.
I needed the aircon though. Yeah, I needed the aircon.
How dare you, power company? I shouldn't say that because I've done an ad for a power company.
Oh, nice.
Probably the same one. So I won't say it out loud.
They're savages too. They come out and they unbolt your meter box and they take all of these parts out of it and then they put this special lock on it.
Wow.
And I was like, fuck these guys, I'm just going to cut it. And I went to like hijack it a couple of times. And the more I started to fuck, this is really bad. And it's, I think, illegal as well. And the more I started to fuck with it, the more I started to realize this ain't their first rodeo. They know what they're doing here. And I could like electrocute myself or blow up the whole 4-apartment complex if I fuck with this thing.
Yeah.
I'm like, okay, just suck it up. Just deal with it. So I had to go down to a local cafe, charge my iPhone, charge my MacBook, and like had to conserve power consumption, had to be careful of the fridge because I had food in the fridge.
Yeah, you can't open it too many times.
No.
I wonder, can I ask you a question on this whole thing? When you were going through that phase, I know you can talk about it now, but were you comfortable speaking to people about where you were sitting at that stage, or did you feel like you couldn't speak about how rough you were doing it at that time?
I think that's a great question. I think like I could speak to it with like some really close friends.
Yeah.
My mum as well. My mum's been very supportive through this whole journey. But then there's other people that you just don't bother telling it to. And we had a guest on the podcast recently, and they were saying that, you know, they were reluctant to do a podcast for a while because they had a bunch of stuff going on in their life and it just didn't feel like the right time. So I think there was that element as well where it's like, I don't want to play the victim card here because I'm not a victim.
No.
You know, and there was things like life can be fucking confusing.
Yeah.
Right. And like I was just turning 30 and for anyone listening to this, like that's not 30 yet, what I've observed is that 30 is a big change for a lot of people.
Massive.
Fucking huge.
Light bulb.
Yeah.
Lightning bolt.
It comes from out of nowhere. All of a sudden you're leaving your 20s and you're going, holy shit, like that's my 20s done. Then you're looking at being a fucking kind of somewhat proper grown up. And there's some astrological event that happens as well around that time in our lives. And it kicked me in my fucking ass. I know it got my business partner in his ass massively as well. And it's like this really hectic phase that happens where chemically things start changing in your mind. Things start to, you know, and for some people they'll have a smooth transition. They might have an event previously or before or after. But I think for a lot of people that I know, 30s has been a big change and a big shift.
Yeah.
And so I just kind of, you know, put it into that category as well. And I was like, well, this is a big growth phase and I just need to, you know, focus on my goals and objectives and things I want to do. And I had the privilege of not being able to sink any lower. I felt like, you know, I'm at fucking rock bottom, man.
Yeah.
I'm at rock bottom. Like I've got depression coming in and out. I'm experiencing anxiety for the first time ever in my life. You know, I'm 38, I turn 39 soon. So it's like 8 or 9 years ago. And yeah, I was like, well, fuck it. Okay. Find happiness then. Like I want to be happy. And it wasn't in drugs. It wasn't in drinking. I was doing those things sometimes here and there, dabbling or whatever. But the happiness was in film. Yeah. It fucking slows you down. The happiness was in film. You know, it was like making film. It was making stuff. It was creativity.
Yeah.
And so for the first time in my life, apart from playing instruments when I was a bit younger, but I never became professional at that. You know, I started to tap into true creativity.
Yeah.
And then I come to learn 4 or 5 years later that actually, hang on, everyone is creative.
Mm-hmm.
Everyone. It's a skill set. Anyone can play piano. Anyone can make a movie. Anyone can learn to paint. Anyone can learn to compose a piece of music. Anyone can learn to draw. It's a skill set. And it takes fucking years to get good. You've got to do something over and over and over again and suck at it until you start to get better. And if you stick with it, it will happen.
Yeah.
You will get better. You will learn.
Yeah.
One of the big things I'm learning at the moment, Chibi, is about color.
Yep.
It's been one of the last bits of my career to learn. It is so complex. It blows my mind into bits. I'm still not happy with the colors that I get out of my images. I haven't got it to the point where I want it to go. And I know that it's going to require me to sit down at my laptop completely undisturbed for hours and hours and hours, whether it's going to be 3, 6, 12, or maybe another 30, 40 hours. I don't know. But that's all that's in the way of me learning that next thing that I want to learn that I see other artists do or that they've mastered.
Yeah.
It's just skill set.
Yeah.
And now I've got so many other elements going on in my career that trying to make time to do those things can be a bit challenging at times. I've got to put other things and other people first, and that's fine. That's what I signed up for. And I also signed up for the fact that I'm in this for 20 plus years. Like, I'm happy to do this for the next 20 years. So
you
what's
only
the
start
fucking
getting
rush?
good then.
What's the rush?
Yeah, you only really
Yeah.
start to unlock it. Like
Yeah.
it's a long game.
It's a long game.
And anybody who enters it expecting it's going to happen like that is just, I'm sorry, a little bit foolish.
Yeah.
Some people do have the overnight success,
Yeah.
but
Small
sustainability,
percentage. Yeah.
like there's no sunk costs there. They haven't spent hours and hours and hours fretting and crying and wishing they had done something differently, or, feeling angst over the fact that the phone's not ringing.
Have you had those moments?
Oh yeah, look, do you know what? Something shifted for me only about a year or two ago. It was before the opportunity for the show came up. And I remember this moment in my life. I'll try not to take too long with it, but I was always so worried about getting it done on a timeline. I'm getting too old. I have to get it done. And I don't know where that came from at all. I don't know why I felt that, but I was in such a rush. And suddenly it just occurred to me, and I don't even know what happened. It was one moment where I went, I'm holding on to this way too tightly. I need to not need this. I need to just love it and want it, because the minute I need it, it is all consuming. And anyway, this mentality shifted just like almost overnight. Like, again, I don't know what that trigger point was. When I find out, I'll let you know. But I was sitting in a chair. I just got the job for a power commercial, and while I'm sitting in the chair, I get a notification on my phone that I've just booked another job. And then not long after that, the 12 thing audition came through, and it was just like
Just that little thing, that little
soon
12,
as-
that 12, 13, 65
yeah, just that tiny
thing.
wee job.
Yeah. Little thing.
What 12? Anyway,
12.
it was the 12.
Little 12.
But it happened just like that. As soon as my understanding changed, and as soon as I just slowed the hell down and went, you know what? I'm going to have everything that I want. And I'm just maybe I don't know what it's going to look like, but it'll come to me in the way that it should, and I just have to trust that and not be in such a rush, because there's time. There's so much time, and time really is a false economy. I've got to be honest. If I look back, it almost feels like everything's kind of already happened all at once in my life. There's, like in a dream, when you don't really know, you can't pick what parts happened first. Now that I think about my life and the things that are happening, it's like pre my lightning bolt moment and post my lightning bolt moment. That's all I kind of know time by, like who I was before that switch flicked, and then who I am now. But I feel less needy about it. Therefore, I'm doing much stronger work.
Yeah.
I'm not strangling the puppy. I'm letting it be playful, and I'm doing it because I love it, not because I need it.
What age do you think that lightning bolt happened roughly?
Oh,
Ballpark?
like 2 years ago,
Okay.
maximum.
Okay.
Like it was
That's
within,
cool.
so what am I now, 39? So it would have been, 37 maybe.
Yeah. Okay.
Like-
Nice.
10 years after 10 years after that moment, I decide I'm going to pursue this as an actor.
Yeah.
It takes time for things to settle and for the cracks to become clear, so that you can then fix those cracks and then get over those hurdles and get over yourself, really.
Yeah.
Just get out of your own way. I've
Such-
heard that so many times.
Get out of your own way. It's such good advice.
Yeah.
Get out of your own way. Just do it.
Just know that you are a vehicle for these beautiful things to happen.
Yeah.
And you're giving a gift
Yeah.
to the world.
Yeah.
It's got to be seen that way. As soon as you make it about you and how it's going to make you look and what you need to achieve, that's too much pressure.
Yeah.
It's too much pressure for one person. It's so much. What about getting off your own back and going, just go out there and have fun? My auditions changed because I used to I'd go in and I go, I want that job. And I switched around about this time. I thought, I'm going to do this audition differently. I pulled out my notebook and I wrote down 3 things I wanted out of that audition. None of those were outcome orientated. One was laugh. The second one was meet new industry professionals that I might have an opportunity to work with in the future.
Nice.
The second one was play.
Yeah.
The third one was play. And then when I came out of that audition, I was able to go, yeah, it was the outcome I wanted because I did those things.
Yeah.
I have no control over whether someone gives me the job or not. I was born with this face. If they want someone who's got a creamy white face, well, the job's going to go to them.
Yeah.
I don't have control over that. My voice, I might be the perfect package to look at, but then my voice is crazy. And let's be honest, we don't want another Milli Vanilli scenario where, you know, they're using a fake voice on you know, me. I'm out there acting with some sort of voiceover. It wouldn't make sense. The emotion's gone. But yeah, anyway, I think just trusting, that brings confidence.
It's amazing.
Do you find that though?
100%. 100%. Like the more you let go, the more you surrender, the more things seem to work out.
Magic word.
Yeah.
That's it. Surrender.
And it's a head fuck as well, because you need to be in the driver's seat with some things, and you need to like stand up for what you're worth, and you need to stand up for what you believe in. You need to get things done. But there is also a big part of the process of just surrendering, and kind of the way I kind of do it now is like work, put some stuff out there, then see what happens next. And when I say put stuff out there, I haven't even been putting stuff to socials. I put hardly anything on socials. We're about to dial that up now. Something I've sat on for ages because I've wanted to do some significant bodies of work before I start talking. Like everyone wants to have a fucking podcast. What are you going to talk about? You know, whereas now like I've tapped in and having conversations like with you and the other guests that I've had, you know, people that are doing really good things in the industry, and
you can bring value once you have that
genuine
behind.
value. Like people that we're doing it. We're not talking about one day I want to. We're doing it. We're in it, you know, and we're still. And what's nice with the people I've been chatting to so far is that we're all like kind of the new blood still. We've been doing it for like between 10, 20 years, which is a common theme. Yet we're actually still a lot of new blood.
Excited. We're still excited. We're not cynical. Correct. We're not beaten up by it so much. Well, I mean, we're beaten up in all the right ways. Conditioned is probably the word.
Flogged.
But I just want to ask you a question though. When you say you've sort of reserved, you know, you've been sitting on that until you let it go and drop it out into the world. Like, is an element of that around you not wanting to be misrepresented for like what your brand is doing, or is it just that you wanted to be able to walk the walk before you talk the talk?
Yeah, I think it's both of those things. Some of the things are internal things. They're things that you know, work my business partner and I have done is work that like will never see the light of the day in the public eye, but it might see the light of day with like doing deals internally or business to business deals and stuff like that. So that's one element. And then the other element is to do with like the public eye. Yeah, definitely. I wanted to understand more about who I was, the direction my career was going in. I think I kind of needed to prove to myself a little bit as well that I could do some things. Like, for example, like, you know, one of the big milestones I had late last year is like we've finished my first movie that I directed and produced. Thank you. We premiered it at a cinema. So, you know, here's me spruiking that I'm a filmmaker for the last 7 years, but I hadn't made a movie, defined movie, big conversation. Yeah. But now I finally had last year a movie played at a cinema on the silver screen in front of an audience, and 90% of the people I did not know. Yeah. And, you know, like it was it's a great film. I actually genuinely like the film. Is it my best work I'll ever do? No.
Well, you hope it's not, because it's
I
your
hope it's
early
not.
work.
Yeah, but it's fucking great. I'm so proud of that movie. I watch it. I'm
proud of you.
Thank you. I get feelings from it, especially there's some scenes towards the end, and the guy that the movie's about, Will call it. He's a fucking legend. Like him and I are genuine friends, and I would do anything for that guy, and I'm so inspired by him. He's like 19 years old, and he ran from Launceston to Hobart in like 24 hours, let's say. That's the objective of the film. I'm not going to spoil it because it's coming out at cinemas in Australia and New Zealand later this year. It's going into the Run Nation Film Festival.
Amazing.
So it'll be at like Astro Theatre and a bunch of other theatres in Sydney and Brisbane and Melbourne. We're trying to now push it into many other film festivals and whatnot as well.
Great.
So I wanted to like, you know, do something, and now I can have conversations with people and you know, I've got some genuine things to talk about. Like making a movie it's been the hardest thing I've ever done in my life.
Yeah.
Making that film was the hardest thing I've ever done in my life. And I'm like, fuck, that was so fun. I want to go again.
Yeah.
What's hard about it? It's the knowledge you need to have. It's the flying down to Tasmania with 60 kilos of film gear and dragging that through the night and staying up for 37 hours or some shit, whatever we stayed up for to shoot this documentary. Being in the freezing cold, getting hungry, not having our own vehicle. We had to go into another vehicle, banging around this truck with a 12 kilo camera on my lap, you know.
It's the price of greatness though, right?
Right, 100%. And I fucking love that shit. I love it so much. Like, put me in the gnarliest fucking place with some film equipment and let me shoot something, and that's my happy place.
Do you know what? That makes me smile so much, because what I've known about you since I met you is you are a bit of an adventure adrenaline junkie. Like, you love those outdoor scenarios. I remember when we went rock climbing once.
Yep.
With another
massive into climbing.
Yeah, like you've always been about the adventure. And the fact that you can combine that love with this love.
That's why I do it.
Like, isn't that great?
So my biggest inspiration, filmmakers and movies, what I connected the dots to very quickly, and thank you for acknowledging that, I really appreciate it, was that movies have inspired me to travel. That's been one of my biggest things. Movies have set a tone for me to go, I want to go to that location. My trip to Vietnam last year with Reese was because of a YouTube video that I watched about 5 or 6 years ago. And we didn't go and copy the trip. We went and did my own version of the trip.
Yeah.
And I filmed the trip and I made my own little short video, and I still actually need to make like a longer form video for that, but I'll get around to it at some point. But like movies move me. I know that sounds weird, but movies make me get off my ass and fucking go and do something.
Yeah.
And that's what one of the many things I love, but it's probably sits at the highest on the list, is that it gets me out of my chair and out into another part of the world.
I love that you do that. And I'm going to say thank you on behalf of my 94-year-old Nana, because she's not able to travel anymore. Right. Do you know what she does? She watches YouTube videos of different places around the world and people making. She even loves watching people like shuck lettuce leaves in a big paddy somewhere, and like that is excitement to her. She can't go there.
People with disabilities, there's disabled people that can't travel.
Yeah.
And so they're watching all these travel contents online, because you got a bunch of travel people that go out and make a video and shows people parts of the world that they're never ever going to get to go.
Yeah.
Ever.
They're not, I mean, and it's...
They can't physically get there.
Or even financially sometimes for people too. You know, not everybody's flush with cash and can make a trip somewhere. And, you know, if you're going and you can bring that back for them, what a lovely, generous thing to do.
Yeah, totally.
And at the same time, you're filling your cup with, you know, your creative outlet as well.
Yeah, absolutely.
That is so cool.
It is cool.
Oh.
Well, we're going to wrap up soon. I do want to ask quickly, it's going back to the 12th. You said you were out filming on location. What was that like out there? Did you see any wilderness or any spectacular scenery? What was it all about?
It was great. We filmed in York, which is just a little country town, maybe less than 2 hours away.
Yep. From Perth, Western Australia.
Yeah, from Perth, Western Australia. And it was beautiful. The locals were really excited to have such a great project there. Some of us actors would get up early before shooting and go for a walk around, climb up a hill that overlooks the town.
Beautiful.
Just little things like that. But we are working a lot of the time. So as long as there's daylight hours, we're on set doing our thing. But It was beautiful. But it was the middle of, it was very hot.
Hot?
Yeah, we filmed the last segment there. Must have been around November. Okay. It was just starting to warm up in WA heat inland. Yeah, but beautiful. Just really nice to take the work away somewhere.
Yeah.
And so maybe, you know, it wasn't that far from home, but it was away, and it made you feel like legit. It just, I don't know, it was like, wow, I'm a real actor on location, away from home, getting put up in a little hotel, and like, it's lovely, getting fed my meals. And
did you all stay in the same hotel?
Yeah. Yeah, we did
was
for
the food
most
good?
part. There was some outside there. I always enjoy catering.
Yeah.
Some people scoff at it, and I sort of think maybe you've been in the game for too long. You
Yeah.
can't appreciate a free lunch. But you know what I mean? Like it's great. I loved
that.
it. And as a vegetarian, like there's usually not very many options. But I think just looking at that table with all the lunch on it, it's just like I'm grateful I have a
Hell
job.
yeah.
What other job do you go to where they feed you twice a day?
Not many.
2 or 3 times a day.
And so obviously with me being a producer, right, one of the big things that we really focus on is feeding and hydrating people.
Yeah.
Like from day one, when I got into this like 8 years ago, whenever I started to do a slightly bigger shoot, I'd always make sure I've got an esky full of like kombucha, really nice water, sparkling water, some flavored sparkling water. Nowadays, like those Boss coffee things go nuts. I don't drink coffee, but the crew go fucking wild for them.
Yeah, they're great.
And I know the stuff that they like. You bust out an esky and then a snack bar, the crew's instantly just like happy.
The spirits are
You
lifted.
get some candy, you get some chocolates, you get some little sandwiches, and then when it's actual meal time, what do you want, guys? Uber Eats, you can have anything you want.
Yeah,
anything
we're all
you
little
want.
babies at heart,
Boom.
right? We want to make sure we've got sleep, we want to drink, and we want to eat.
It's so true.
Like
It's so
literally,
true.
that's all we need.
It's so basic.
Yeah,
I love
is.
it. I love it.
It's a commodity. It's great.
It is. Well, we have had an amazing chat. We're definitely going to have to schedule one of these again. For everyone listening, Jennah is a dear friend of mine. Please check her out. I'll link her socials. Have you got an IMDb yet?
I do.
Yeah, fuck yeah, girl.
I do. I've had one for a wee while.
Fist pump that. Yeah, make sure you check her out and keep an eye out for her work. She's going to be absolutely rattling cages as her career continues to blossom. Thanks so much for coming in today.
Thank you for having me here, if I can even get that out. Thank you so much. I never wanted this to end. At first, I was worried kicking it off. Like, what if I say something
You're like,
silly? And now I don't want to stop.
I'll barely be able to talk for like 7 minutes. It's an hour and 39 minutes.
And you're like, shut up, Jennah. We need to end
Not at
this.
all.
Anyway, thank you
No.
so much. It's been such a hoot. And like, it's always really nice to share a space with another creative
Thank you.
and someone whose career I really care about.
I
So,
appreciate that so much. I really do. And for everyone listening, guys, if you want some help with amazing talent for your business project, reach out to Sky Video, today's sponsor, and also Talent Corp, our dear friends at Talent Corp, and we'd be happy to hook you up with some of Australia's best known presenters, personalities, and sports stars that can really take your story to the next level. Thank you so much for listening or watching. Make sure you like, subscribe, follow our channels, and follow our socials, and we'll see you at the next episode. Bye. Peace.
peace out.